that is a little similar to the product. Then is there a way that I can find out what parts of the product are patented and in whose name?
You've seen a physical product.
A physical product, a website, or something. Let's see, any kind of a thing that can be patented.
There are ways like if you have seen a product, you can find out maybe some trade portals. You can see in your, let's say, electric kettle, tea maker, some tea, and then want to tea. You also came up with a tea maker, but then what are the specifications? Then find out what are the specifications being offered by the trade portals. You will find out there is a cut-off time, 100 degrees Celsius in 5 seconds or something like that. Stainless steel body, and the polymer is washable, and there are filters and all sort of things. You know, the voltage range is this, and then try to see how different is your product. Is that looking different physically by appearance? Then you can go into design. And if you have some better filters, let's say they are using stainless steel filter and you are using a plastic filter which is detachable and you can wash and then things like that. Not necessarily patentable, but then they go into different aspects of various IPs. But you can still make a product which can be sold, because anyway, you know, a new product is to make life better, and if it offers some convenience and some simplicity, or it's not necessarily simplicity. If it makes life easier or better, people would buy it.
Yes, sir. But the thing is that if that product has something that I like to pick up, like I have developed some part of the electric kettle, and the other part of the electric kettle is same as the one that is already in the market. How do I know that this part is not patented by the owner of this kettle, company of the kettle?
The answer is, anyone? Is it working? Yeah. He is partly right, but the way I would look at it is actually not that he is right or I am right. It's a question of how you look at the problem. What I would do is find out the manufacturer and see whether there are any patents as an assignee in any country. So that's one of the simplest ways of doing it. But still, you are not assume that it's a steam iron made by Philips. If you look for Philips, you will get 59,000 patent hits. So that's not very helpful. Then you have to go down and see the technologies that are involved. That will help you, but this search is never going to be 100%. That's the most important thing you should know. If you are trying to do anything with that, you are always going to be, you always run a risk. But these are the ways of trying to do this. But what you will also not find out is that if they have acquired a license from somebody, then also you will not know. It's still being protected by somebody, but you are not aware of it. So it's a very risky business, but partly you can get that. Not
you have to understand, if you want to copy somebody's thing, then it's called infringement, and then maybe you can be called for.
I may not be aware of what is the improvement you are looking at, because you said one part of the kettle is no. If you write to me, I can tell you one nice interesting thing. Samsung has a patent on a microwave oven. It's interesting, right? Samsung is not into that kind of business, but that is, they have taken it in a very narrow area of the improvements in relation to microwave. So it all depends on obviously kettles are available, but then your invention can make a big significant improvement in relation to the use of it. So people are looking at customizations and things like that. So at this point, I would say good chance. One should explore. And yes, as Anit Kumar just mentioned, you will be looking at that range of patents where that that concept is covered. So hopefully that's not covered, and then your invention is not. So maybe you should put it into the patent drive, I guess, and that will come to you. It's a good chance.
See, actually, first clarification which we require is this, that you need to have a clarification that the product and patents are two different issues. The physical embodiment may not be patented, but patent right lies in certain different components which you not actually which are not externally visible. And your property right is extended to the patent claims only. And as I rightly pointed out, that we have to find out who is the manufacturer and whether actually any patent has been granted with regard to the components of that particular kettle or not. Because the physical embodiment and patents are two different issues.
So my question is regarding protecting the IP of mathematical models. A lot of work on mathematical modeling is being done in KGP. So there can be different models being used for a particular product being developed. So how does one go about protecting the IP of a mathematical model? Because I want to ask, does it come under filing patent or copyright the process patent? Or
principles, equations, mathematics are not patentable. When you say mathematical model, the application of it, like algorithms are not patentable, right? Now, there is this interesting page, just I will tell you about this thing, that use of that mathematical equation, let's say Arrhenius equation, to improve the curation of rubber, okay, is covered by a patent. So it's not Arrhenius equation that they take. They are actually using the application of Arrhenius equation to improve the curing of rubber, to be able to exactly take out the press on the mode in relation to temperature. So now when you say mathematical model, what is your mathematical model aiming at in terms of improving something, in terms of an application? So that I guess is not clear at this point. But maybe if you have something like that, one can look at IP. But per se, your model can be a good copyright, I guess. As in, you might want to comment on that part of it.
Because, something in. See, what happens is we also come up with a lot of algorithms which you can say is a mathematical model or mathematical way of doing something. We try to protect it as a device. A device doing such and such using this method. That is patent. But it's still not very easy, it's difficult, but we always say that we are creating a device to do this kind of thing. And the method used by this is using this. If I patent the method in the device itself, I am better off than not doing anything at all. This is where industries would be interested in institutes to convert whatever they have done into a physical realizable entity. Then your ability to sell that patent or license that patent will actually grow. So it is actually, that's what I said, selfish interest, but part of this is the story.
Would you consider using sold software package as a device? Even if I run my mathematical model,
Dedicated device which does a certain
It has to be embedded. There are glucose monitoring handheld meters, personal meters, where sometimes their calibration is needed, and nowadays new devices have come which doesn't need calibration. So there is an algorithm into it which takes care of correction of that particular parameter. So if the algorithm is on the device, that device can be protected. But there are changes in India per se, computer-related inventions. Track on those titles on Google, you will find out more on that. And if you want to protect what you have modeled, take out a printout with the copyright symbol on it, and put a time and date stamp on it, and give it with your name on it, you have a copyright.
So far as copyright is concerned, actually you can have a copyright on the what you have written down, but the idea, process, and methods which you have revealed in that particular article will not be protected by copyright.
As of now, I am working on a trash compaction method in order to optimize the volume of the dustbins which are currently used around the world. Trash compaction method. So the thing is, there are several trash compaction methods that are currently being used in Japan and other countries. But the problem is, we are designing it for a particular load, human load, and completely manual trash compaction and then automatic. So I'd like to find out if I use a similar mechanism, but the operating loads are different. Will it be a new product?
Repeat the last bit.
If I'm using a similar mechanism, but it's operating at different loads, we have changed some dimensions, linkages, etc.
Is that obvious or not obvious to the person? Just by changing one parameter, it's obvious that things would carry.
but the application is different. Let us say.
Yeah, so
It's not being used for trash compaction. It's
you will
usually
have to understand the three filters of the patentability. It has to be globally novel,
okay.
and it has to be non-obvious. Non-obvious is the person, like for example, the student of your subject in a particular area should not say obviously it happens.
Okay.
If that is the feedback, then it cannot take.
No, it is not obvious because the application for comparison is different in that particular case.
So
but you are applying it for garbage bins only.
So new use of a known thing cannot be.
Okay. Fine.
There is also one more slide.
You can talk.
Can have two answers. One is that if you're trying to patent something like this in Europe, it might be possible for you to patent, but in the US you can't. Because the way they analyze a invention is principally different in these two jurisdictions. Here in Europe, with which I am quite familiar, in the patent club way I mean, is that if there's a problem and you are provided a solution which has never been provided earlier, then you have novelty. And then, would a person trying to solve your problem, the second application, would he look in the field of the first application to find a solution? If the answer is no, the inventiveness step is also covered. But in the US, what happens is they will see which are the components which are going to make this thing happen. If it's already known, you can't patent it. So the questions, most of the questions in patenting field will have answers like this. That's why you found that the previous two questions also, 4 people had wanted different answers. Slight variants, but they're all true. So you can never have a definitive answer, but these are the principles on which they work.
Mobile composting. Composting as a method is known. There have been several devices for that, and the process is also covered by patents. One of these IIT professors came up with a mobile composting device, as well as a process, obviously. And then the question was to look at the novelty of it. So is it like, it's novel because then the mobile composting is something you can take it everywhere, put it in your garden and things like that. The issue was with actually obviousness. So then again, once when they looked at it, they said that no, they are using separate filters. So you could take out a liquid compost on one end. From the down, you can take out the solid compost. So there are these insights, you need to really kind of clarify upfront. So a straight no would not be a great thing to say on anything like this. But provided we have details on that, maybe you have a good solution to this.
See, one more issue here. You need to take into consideration that actually the product which you are coming out with, the variation which you are coming out with, whether there is a market for that and whether it is cheaper than the earlier products. If there is a long-filled market need, even if it is obvious, you can get a patent in India. This is called secondary market consideration.
A to B usually had 5 steps, and you might have created a novel process of converting A to B again. It's known, but within 2 steps, and that could mean making it much easier to do, and in terms of time, shelf life, all of these. These are again recognized under the purview of the second criteria. That's precisely what he said. They have factors.
You are always running the risk of being sued by the first inventor under the doctrine of equivalence.
That's possible. I think that would be a bit hard.